$17 million in court settlements is coming to Red Hill families. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Add AP News on Google. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Share nearly 630 of the plaintiffs affected by Navy water contamination in Central Oʻahu will receive a combined payment of $17 million in the latest batch of Red Hill court settlements announced by the U.S. Department of Justice on Wednesday. DOJ leaders touted the move as a good faith step toward resolving the matter, in which scores of military personnel, their families, and civilian workers were sickened by tens of thousands of gallons of jet fuel spilled in 2021. Some victims, however, called the deals a slap in the face that don't go nearly far enough to compensate all the damage done. The settlements apply to family members who were sickened, not the service members themselves, and they stem from two lawsuits brought against the Navy in recent years over Red Hill contamination under the Federal Tort Claims Act, or FTCA. Together, those suits, Faint v. United States and Hughes v. United States, represent more than 6,500 claims. Some 3,600 Red Hill plaintiffs in those suits have now reached settlements with the federal government over their health ordeals, according to the DOJ, out of more than 6,500 claims. Assistant Attorney General Brett Shumate called the latest settlements a just and fair resolution. "We look forward to paying additional claims once they are approved," he said in a statement Wednesday. Christina Beher, the plaintiff's attorney, said the roughly $27,000 awarded to each of the 629 plaintiffs who took the deal fell far short of the minimum amount laid out in an order by U.S. District Judge Leslie Kobayashi. Kobayashi's order, according to Beha, called for the federal government to pay between $38,500 and $76,000. Read more. Army Bench. Mandy Faint, whose husband, Patrick, was the lead plaintiff in one of the lawsuits, said $27,000 wouldn't come close to covering the health damages, property loss, and other ordeals that families faced in the wake of the Red Hill spills that year. "I know that to some people it seems like a lot, but for our family alone, we've been to over 800 medical appointments," said Faint, whose family now lives in Virginia. Sign up for Morning Wire. Our flagship newsletter breaks down the biggest headlines of the day. Email address. Sign up by checking this box. You agree to AP's terms of use and acknowledge that AP may collect and use your data pursuant to our privacy policy. Faint's 8-year-old daughter still suffers from neurological issues, she said, and her son, now 6 years old, suffered permanent lung damage after the Navy's water supply was contaminated. "Many of us spent thousands of dollars in getting medical care for our families and moving," Faint said. "Our family alone has done 2 compassionate reassignments, and we'll never recover all of that money. We lost everything." Prior legal maneuverings by the government, court rulings showed, helped limit the criteria that could be considered in issuing the awards and determining settlements. The plaintiffs' awards will further be reduced by attorneys' fees, which can take up to a 25% bite out of the total, and related expenses. Faint said her family accepted a $37,500 settlement as part of the tort case, but they refused the $15,000 settlement for her daughter and $5,000 for her son, and continue to contest the matter in court on their behalf. "Our case basically sort of set the precedent, which is why we rejected the kids' payout," she said Wednesday. "We're bearing a lot of weight on our shoulders because what we accept paves the way for those thousands of other people that come behind us." Beer said the government in the past 2 weeks did approve 2 new settlements within the monetary range called for in Kobayashi's ruling, one at $45,000 and another at $55,000. She said she hoped that would set a precedent for the remaining cases to receive higher awards. The DOJ's Civil Division said in a statement it is continuing to process more settlements as it works to get more of those deals approved. Meanwhile, the legal fight over whether Faint and other service members should be compensated for the water contamination continues to play out in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The federal government, according to Beher, has argued that service personnel shouldn't be compensated because their exposure to the contamination was incident to military service. that stands further upsets Faint, who took issue Wednesday with Shoemate's statement that the DOJ is committed to ensuring justice for our nation's heroes who repeatedly risk greatly to safeguard our freedoms. For those of us who have risked our lives in this country, it's pretty significant to have our families, especially those with small children, poisoned, Faint said. This story was originally published by Honolulu Civil Beat and distributed through a partnership with the Associated Press.